Alrighty, so we are here for day number 11, and this is the 11th piece of advice I'd give to my childhood self. Today we're going to talk about something that's a bit of a spin-off of this idea of self-love, and I kind of started to talk about it a little bit in yesterday's video, but I think it's something so important that it's of its own right. And that piece of advice is you are enough. Just those 3 words. I talked about yesterday in my video about how we have these, I do, I'm assuming other people do too, have these internal dialogues that can be really negative, and we can talk ourselves down and tear ourselves apart in terms of the things that we don't accept or love about ourselves. And really, if you're looking at the basics of what that means in terms of like the underlying message of I'm not pretty enough, I'm not smart enough, I'm not la 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 la, is I'm not da 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 enough. It's not being enough of something. Saying that there is a point that you should be reaching in order to be that. And I think it's just, this thing is just so important, and it's just so like tenfold to really understand and embody this idea of changing the way we talk to ourselves, and this idea of just accepting that you are enough just as you are, just as you've come in this package, in this body, in this mind, in this whole thing, and the way you show up in the world, and the way you make mistakes, the way you fail, the way that you don't grow in a linear fashion, the way that you are easily go to negative, that you seek happiness outside of yourself, that you, can you tell I'm going through all the ones I've done so far, that we don't, like in terms of our mental health, and it's touching all the bases. And I think really coming down to it, feeling this need to be something in order to be enough just is really not a fulfilling way to live a life. In terms of, if you are constantly striving, constantly seeking out things to make you happy, and you're not really thinking that what you're doing is enough, again, this whole idea of gratitude and being okay with what is, and being happy where you're at and loving where you're at. If you're not able to just love on what you are and who you are and just completely accept that that is enough, then that is just such a great way to start. And I just, especially like as a parent, I often ask parents, I think I know the answer, but you never know. I'll ask them, what is the one thing that you wish for your child? And like, parents will get down in the nitty gritty, like in the day to day, they'll be like, oh, I want my child to be this and this and this and this, and it'd be really cool if they played this sport and did this activity and blah, blah. But if at the end of the day, they want them to be happy. That's it. They want them to be happy. And I think at the end of the day, if we took that kind of role of looking at ourselves as our own child, like our inner child that never got the love that it needed, that never got the things that it needed from our parents, and really be the parent for ourselves. And we looked at that childlike part of ourselves and just said, you are enough just as you are. And this is kind of the practice. This is kind of leading me into the practice that I have. And it sounds kind of quirky, sounds kind of weird, and it's kind of role play and a bit Freudian, but seriously, it is weirdly therapeutic. It's just sitting with yourself. And so it's like, there's 2 parts of you, and it's like, so there's little tiny Claire who heard from someone that she wasn't smart enough, and she took that to be true, because in that moment she needed to believe that to get through whatever it was she was dealing with. Just to cope with that scenario, because as kids we don't fully understand the whole situation, and so we take on these meanings of I'm not this, I'm not that, I'm not that, in order to understand the context. And so if you're looking at childhood part of yourself and just say, like, imagine if it is like a kid outside of you. Like, you would never look at a kid and be like, you're not smart enough. Or look at, I don't know. Yeah, just you never talk to someone else's child and be like, yeah, you're done. Like, you're horrible. I mean, I've looked at some kids and been like, you're horrible. But that's not serving them. That's not helping them get better to the person that they want to be. It's accepting that even in spite of their bad days and their tantrums and they're a kid, they're learning, they're trying to figure it out. And so even when they're being all that, if you are that person's parent, that kid's parent, you're going to love them unconditionally no matter what. And so I think we need to start having this like unconditional love toward ourselves. And I think that starts with saying, I'm enough. And looking at that inner child of yourself saying, you are enough. You are enough as you are. And I think especially in this society, we have this idea that we have to be something. Also, we have to have something to do something to be someone. So we have to have the things, we have to do the jobs, and we have to do the things. No, I think I'm saying this wrong. I think you have to do something. Yeah, you have to do something to have something in order to be someone. So have, do, be. And it's so wrong. Like, not saying you're wrong, but it's wrong. This idea that we have to have something to do something. So we have to do something to have something to be someone. But we are someone. Without doing anything, I'm still breathing. Without having to go to a job and be someone's person and be this for someone and be that for someone and do whatever for myself. I already just in my own right, I exist. So therefore I am someone. I am being. Right now I'm being, I'm breathing, I'm doing this life thing, just sitting here. My body's doing all the things. And it's like in just accepting that is enough as it is. Not having to go out and achieve a certain thing in order to be worthy of your own love and your own acceptance or someone else's love and acceptance. And so that's kind of things I do for myself in terms of saying I am enough. And this can be a really good thing to, I don't know if you're into a meditation practice, this can be a really good thing to meditate on, and just looking at all of the like harsh words that do come up. And I started with this quite a bit when I was first learning to meditate, is hearing the inner dialogue, that really negative dialogue, and just hearing it and just being like, that's okay. I just imagine like a little kid came up to me and like was really upset and crying their eyes out and was like, oh, I failed my test. And it's like, that's okay. Doesn't matter anyway. It's like, oh, I can't, I don't know, like I look at myself like when I've not been able to make rent and whatever, and it's like, that didn't define me as a person. I just made some mistakes, or, oh God, I drank too much and made some mistakes. It's not me as a person. That's just something that happened, and I'm going to learn from it and do better next time. And it's like, you're good enough regardless of that. And so I looked at it like it's a kid, and just put some love on that. And then in terms of kids, I think it's just that idea, just really, it's easy to give love conditionally. Especially, I mean, it's a bit harder, I guess, if you're a parent, like you love that kid no matter what. But it's easy to put your expectations on them, and they feel that. They feel those expectations. They feel that need to please you and to do the things that they think will make you happy. But if you can provide to them the feeling that no matter what they do, you will love them. And that's like truly, utterly like feeling that. Not like if they are acting a certain way, not if they're just like being able to love on whatever way they're showing up. And kind of like we said yesterday, like you're only triggered in someone else, what triggers in you. And it's, if you are reaching this place of total love and acceptance of this tiny human, you're, on the flip side, I've experienced beginning to feel way more acceptance of your own shit and your own screw ups and mistakes. And that's part of the reason I actually love working with kids, is because I see them and I just see their innocence and I see their trials and errors, and they try so hard and do their best, and they always surprise me, and they just like, they fall down, they get back up and do it again. And I'm just like, oh, what am I stressing about? Like, it doesn't really matter anyway. So just being able to bring that kind of love and just really just sending that message is, you are enough. You don't have to be the best this or the best that, or even do anything like realistically. And like I said before, if you as a parent, yeah, it might be good to put them in this extracurricular and put them in maths and whatever and science, and you want them to be this, that, and the other, and it's like, that would be great. But at the end of the day, come back to your own goal of like, what do I really want for them? Happiness. And it's like, you can do your best to present them with the best opportunities and give them all the things in the world that you wish that you had as a kid. But you might get a kid who might like completely different things that you like. And I think there's some huge maturity, and I've seen a lot of parents who do get that kid who's so different to them. And it's like, I don't know, like they're just stumped. They're just like so hard to connect. And it's just like, regardless of what their love and what their passion is, it's just being able to love on them and provide them with that unconditional love, really, I think, allows them to then find their own thing that does bring them passion, bring them light, bring them happiness, and that, I think, will set them up for success in the long run. If we had a world full of people who were doing jobs they loved, I think this world would be very different. Yeah, so I think that is my 11th piece of advice. You are enough. You don't have to do anything. Just be. Just be yourself. Be who you are. And do what you do. And the rest will follow. Yeah, that is all. Have a good day.